Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Now, stand back for your own safety.
Steve, what's up?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Steve. Where Paulie at?
Here we go.
I'm checking out. I will respond to you, but I'm done for the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac. 3, 2, 1, and
This is Orange Nation.
well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Steve Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us alongside Paulie Sibilia. I'm Steve Fonte. We've made it to Thursday here on Orange Nation. We've got two guests lined up for you on the show today. At 12:30, we will be joined by Jamal Brunt, one of the new members of the SU basketball coaching staff. And then David Uben from The Athletic, college football writer for The Athletic, will join us at 1 o'clock. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout at 315-437-7644. What's up, Paulie?
Not much, Steve. How'd you sleep last night?
I didn't sleep great. How did you sleep?
Spectacularly.
Good.
Slept like a baby.
Good.
Oh, be jealous of me. I slept amazing, Steve.
Any particular reason for that?
No, I don't know. Padres lost, and I cried myself to sleep, and moved on from there. So it was just a normal, boring night. Spurs Thunder game wasn't interesting to me at all.
It wasn't interesting?
No, it was just OKC won, and
I think it's going to be a good series. Every time the Thunder pulled ahead, Spurs came back. I think it's a compelling series, and Knicks are back at it tonight. Game 2 of that series against the Cavs. We'll see if Cleveland can bounce back from that Game 1 debacle there in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah, and maybe Jalen Brunson could miss a shot at some point.
That would help Cleveland's case, no doubt about it. Knicks fans are, we had. I'm drawing a blank. Who do we have on yesterday?
Bryce Gelman.
Bryce Gelman, yes.
TikToker of all time.
And I feel like he speaks for a lot of Knicks fans is that he's trying not to get ahead of himself, but it's hard not to get ahead of yourself. Like, this team looks like they're going to the NBA
You do it all the time
Finals.
with the Bills.
I do. You're right.
It's hard as a fan not to do that, and I program myself not to do it. I do it the opposite. This team's going to lose right now, and that way I'm always happy if they win. And if they lose,
like, see, I told you so.
I got it.
Yeah. You're like the Randy Quaid character in Major League 2 and everything, they'll blow it. They'll find a way to blow it.
You're ready to talk about the same stuff we always talk about, Steve?
We can do that.
Syracuse's final transfer portal rankings are basically identical to last year. And now the fan base seems to be vocally angry that the NIL isn't good enough. But last year, everybody was saying it was great.
Worst coach in the country.
Yeah, it was great.
Talent was good enough.
But the talent, I think everybody still thinks last year's talent was good enough. Last year's team was picked 7th. This year's team is picked 7th. If you finish 7th, you'll probably get into the tournament.
Yeah.
Now it's on coaching.
Right.
That is a good enough roster to get you to the tournament. You just got to win games.
Yeah.
Right?
And according to Rivals, if you go by their rankings, last year's transfer portal class was ranked 15th in the ACC for Syracuse. This year's is ranked 14th. So comparable, maybe a tick ahead this year in terms of the overall rankings. They had, their best player out of the portal last year from an analytical standpoint coming into the season, of course, was Nathan George. He was 50th in the portal in the country, the 13th best point guard. The highest transfer coming in this year is Gavin Doty, 83rd overall, 10th best shooting guard, and then Aiden Tobias right behind it, 87th overall. So they got a couple of the top 100 guys this year out of the portal. Last year they had one. But they had, of course, they had JJ and Donnie back last year. This year they've got Sadiq and Cayenne back. I don't think we can forget that, right? I feel like a lot of fans gloss over those two guys. If those two guys develop the way that you expect them to develop, especially Sadiq, I think he could be a big piece to the puzzle next year.
And I think that was the biggest problem with last year. Last year, going into it, you had two guys who you didn't worry about, and then they just did not live up to what you had expected. Although Donnie wasn't bad, it just you needed a leader and a more dominant player out of him in big games.
I think you worded it perfectly. You said they didn't live up to what you expected, and Donnie was fine, but he wasn't what we expected. I think we thought Donnie was going to be awesome last year, and he wasn't. And Nathan George, I think we all expected a lot more out of him. That was one of the biggest problems with last year's team, maybe at the top of the list. I know people put coaching, and yes, coaching was a factor, certainly, and at or near the top of the list. The fact that their three best players didn't perform to the expectations that you were expecting, I think that was, at or near the top of the list as well. And it was a bad combination.
And I think it's fair to say that this team, if the coaching's good and the players play up to their level, is a tournament roster. Is it a 1 seed? Far from it. But it's a tournament roster, yes. 8-9 game.
Yeah, I mean, and there's, as we discussed yesterday, there's a little more wiggle room with the expanded field. It's funny because there's a faction of the fan base as the non-conference schedule gets announced, the St. John's game and the Providence game in Boston, the Indiana game in Indianapolis. We've heard a lot that the schedule is too tough. So I put out a tweet yesterday when John Rothstein announced that they were finalizing the thing with Rutgers, and I said that this would be the fifth and final Power 5 non-conference game on the schedule. Just put it out there, retweeted it, and one of the comments I got was, "This schedule's not hard enough." So you can't please everybody, right? Because it was only Rutgers, and they had a losing record last year, and a lot of Power 4 schools are playing 6 marquee non-conference games. And
so this is the equivalent of Drexel last year, but better, right?
It's just funny how you've got fans yelling that it's too hard, then you got some fans yelling it's not hard enough. It's the roster isn't good enough.
I would say this is an easier schedule than last year's, even though we didn't know how it was going to break down till later in the summer.
I would agree with that in part because they are handpicking the opponents and they're not back to back to back. Like that Vegas trip going in, you knew it was going to be difficult.
Well, if you were handpicking these, that would be a bonkers schedule if you said Kansas.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You went
Iowa State.
You've got a break. So you can prepare for these games better, and you know exactly who you're playing, and you can start scouting ahead of time. Whereas, last year it was, I guess you knew going in it was Houston and Kansas. You had no idea who the third opponent was going to be, and it should not have been Iowa State. It should have been like anyone but Iowa State. And then it was, given the circumstances of Iowa State had a flight, and it was... It was nonsense. But, it's unfortunate how that Vegas trip went. I do think that this is probably a better way to do it, especially in year one, is to handpick the opponents and to have some separation in terms of the dates so that you're not playing them, 3 nights in a row. So I don't know if we should say it's easier. I would say it's a little less difficult than what they tried to accomplish last year by going to Vegas.
Yeah, and it's also... interesting that Tim had a discussion with a fan on Twitter about I was promised millions of dollars if Jerry came, and it seems like they got more money this year. It's just
that more money doesn't go as far as you would hope that it would go.
It's just everybody got more money, and it's a arms race that you just got to hope you could stay even at this point, I'm guessing, and they did. They're in the identical spot they were going into the season last year.
Feels like
this year, and they held serve. And now, if everybody thought last year's team was good enough, this year's team's got to be good enough, and you got to make the tournament.
Yeah, and you got to hope that last year again we said the top 3 players were Nathan George, JJ Starling, Donnie Freeman. None of them really lived up to expectations. This year, that pressure is going to be on Gavin Doty, Aiden Tobiasen, Sadiq / Cayenne. I would say probably Sadiq would be, right now, if I had to pick the top 3 players, that's probably who I would say. Aiden, Gavin, and Sadiq. they got to live up to the expectations. They got to come in here and they got to do their job, and they got to do it well. And you hope this team comes together, much like that Siena team came together for Jerry last year.
Michael Antonio says Syracuse needs to be a top spender in the ACC. They are a big brand, and you can't do it. You can't buy players with brand. It helps a little. Like, try walking into a store and be like, "Yeah, I'm a big shot around here." You can't do that. You need money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve can't just walk in and go, "My brand is huge. Give me my clothes."
Funny.
I'm Stephen Fonte, News Channel 9.
You can't expect to get a hometown discount either, right? And with guys that could hit the open market and make maybe twice as much as they make here. You might in some cases, and maybe in the case of Gavin Doty, maybe they got him for maybe a little bit less than he would have commanded on the open market given the relationships, and maybe you can count on that a little bit, but I don't think you can count on that to build your team. As long as you're here, we can get these guys for less. If they hit the open market, they're going to command more. They're going to want to get paid the way that they should be paid.
The brand gets you more corporate sponsorships. It's Syracuse, New York. Tesla isn't sponsoring Syracuse, And if they were going to pick a national brand, probably be Duke, Kentucky. How many times do we have to explain this? How many times, Steve? It's just, this isn't a rich area.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny, though, how it's gone from it was all coaching to now it's, NIL's the problem, and it
was coaching and NIL,
right,
and now you hope the coaching's better, this roster's going to.
Yeah, and then you hope that you can build some momentum and that the NIL will give. I do think the NIL is better than it was last year, but as we said, the going rate for players has gone up as well. So you're just kind of keeping up with the inflation of the system right now. And hopefully you can build some momentum this year and capitalize on the excitement of this fan base and this community and the business leaders here if they have a good year. And then maybe you can close the gap a little bit. But I think they're still sitting in that, that middle of the pack area of NIL in the conference. And they're going to have to, as you like to say, they're going to have to punch up and beat a few teams with more money than them if they want to make the tournament. They know that.
Q's fan says more excuses about last year's schedule. No, it was a difficult schedule. They should have made the tournament. The coach got fired. It's not excuses. We're just making a point. Last year's schedule was more difficult than this year's schedule. My God. Do we need a translator? Do we need like a Steve and Paulie to common sense translator?
I think people hear what they want to hear. I do. I think people hear what they want to hear. And we still don't know the SEC ACC opponent yet. I mean, if they're playing like Kentucky, then your point there about last year's schedule is more difficult goes out the window. I mean, we'll see what that matchup looks like. It's probably going to be on the road. Last year they got Tennessee at home. This year's schedule is still difficult, and I think it's difficult in a good way. Like we talked about this yesterday. You want to challenge yourself. They're absolutely doing that. I think they're being smart about how they're doing it. Right, they're going to 4 neutral site NBA arenas. They're playing, where the Pacers play, Celtics, Knicks, and Nets. It's financially beneficial. It's good for the brand. It's good for the alumni base. There are a lot of positives with those games. Then you play the ACC SEC Challenge, likely on the road. You don't know who that opponent is yet. But I think that the Vegas, the 3 games in 3 days against teams that were all better than them, it's a tough ask.
Michael Antonio says, I'll make a bet that major corporate sponsors will fund athletics. They do already. Do you think that Syracuse doesn't go out and try? I can't do this today. They already do. There are major corporations.
I mean, look around the dome. There's,
my God, I can't do this today.
Turning Stone, Wegmans. I mean, there are major corporate sponsors that they
Serve Pro.
Yeah, right.
That mop company.
Lippman.
Yeah, the moppers. Yeah, they're there. I certainly wouldn't hire Paulie as brand ambassador. I am not the brand ambassador. Why don't you go be the brand ambassador if it's that damn easy? I can hook you up with the people that are in charge of marketing. They'd love to have you come on and make these sales. You're talking about bigger. Yeah, I think they're trying. Toyota is a sponsor.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
Honda is definitely a sponsor. I put the commercials in for women's basketball. Yeah. They spend by size of market.
And I know that there's a lot of hope with Micron, right? That is going to develop into a big partnership in this area, and it might be a smidge too soon for that, but I think that the hope is that help is on the way in that area.
Like if you're a major corporation, you can't advertise with Syracuse and have it show up unless it's in the background on a sign, right? There's so they run the spots locally and they pay per market size.
All right, that was our opening drive, brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota. We've got Jamal Brunt, SU men's assistant basketball coach, set to join us here in about 15 minutes. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Catch Sunday Night Baseball every Sunday night at 6:30 on ESPN Radio Syracuse.
They're trying to build up right now.
Drive a new Ram from McGuire Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Syracuse during the Declaration of Deals for just $3.99 a month.
Yes,
lease a new Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn 4x4 today from McGuire for 39 months and pay just $3.
I think that's, I don't want to say they're banking on it.
My God, guys, it's 30 seconds.
0% financing for 60 months. Wow, a new Ram 4x4 is now more affordable than ever at McGuire.
Oh, my font's big. What is the toxicity, Michael Antonio?
Grant, I saw that.
Me disagreeing with your take? Okay.
Matt June.
Toxicity is being just personal and a jerk about things and doing weird things. Calling people gay. That's toxicity. Not disagreeing with your take. Just... we've told you a million times about the sponsorships. Okay, well, then go watch another show. I don't care. Goodbye. Well, if you're going to push back, be smart about it. I'm being a baby? Okay. Because you keep saying the same thing and you're wrong that Syracuse doesn't have major corporate sponsors. They get the money out of them they can. You act like, oh, yeah, they're just not asking anybody. They are. No, I know you're wrong. I know that they try and get the money. Dude, they've been trying to get money from corporate sponsors since day one of sports. The marketing department is still the same. It's just, I can't. Okay, my responses are incorrect. I literally work for the company that does all the sponsorships.
Friday, June 5th, it's a night of Eagles classics with Hotel California.
I like LA Orange. And you don't know that the corporate sponsors are going to want to pay for NIL. They may want to just get their advertising in a different way. I'm not telling you guys anything about my private life anymore, Spatch and Louise. You figure out if I have an iPhone or an Android on your own. Dude, that was in 1980. Everybody that did that is dead. Are you serious right now? Hold me, Steve. I wish I had someone to hold me, Steve. I'm a sad old man.
I feel like you need that right now.
Steve, I did something yesterday, and I'm not happy about it.
What's that?
I don't know what age you're supposed to do this, but I officially increased the size of the font on my phone.
It's a big move.
Yeah, next move is nursing home. That's what I'm thinking.
Your arm just wasn't long enough to read. Is that why? Because I'm in the same boat.
It
by the
wasn't
way.
arm. I had the glasses on. I just couldn't read it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I have to hold the phone a little bit further away than I used to.
It is life-changing, though. Now I'm just worried that everybody's going to see what I'm talking about.
That could be.
Like it's big.
Oh, wow, that is big. Yeah.
It's life-changing, though. I can read it. I'm not squinting and I'm not in denial anymore. Just accepting that I can't see this crap.
Well, my font remains the same. I can read that Matt June has been hired by SU as its director of strength and conditioning. Matt June was with Jerry at Siena, did strength and conditioning there.
Oh, not good enough.
He is a graduate of SUNY Cortland, played on the baseball team there, graduated in 2014. He's worked at various schools, including College of St. Rose. So he was out there in Albany there for a little bit, joined College of St. Rose in 2020, eventually made his way to Siena. And now he is here as
what happened to the other guy?
Strength and
did you hear a story of that guy getting fired? Reds?
I did not.
I thought he was still. I don't know. I'm confused.
I did not.
But good. I hope he does well.
I hope he does well. Also,
another Siena guy. That's all we need.
He's got the job now. You hope he doesn't give it up to anybody else.
Correct.
Right? You hope it's Matt June's job until he doesn't want it
I hope
to be.
he's the best strength and conditioning coach ever.
Yes.
Maybe you can help me with my left leg. It's not quite working right.
I'm sure that's going to be his top priority. Paulie Sibilia's left leg.
Ryan Mullen says, Paulie, the International Space Station is called and asked if you could turn down the font on your phone. It's blinding them.
It is big, but
Thank
I get
you.
it. I get it.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean, you look at the staff that Jerry has assembled, and, it's... they got a lot of young guys, up-and-comers who,
energy, fun.
Exactly. It does. That's a good word to use. It does seem like there's a positive energy with this staff right now, and there is an excitement, and we're going to see what it all looks like come November. And you said yesterday in the show it's going to be a long summer. It is going to be a long summer because the people who are questioning every single move, like, we're not going to get answers for a bit. There's going to be a lot of speculation, and this is what it is, and this is what the schedule looks like. This is what the roster looks like. How is it all going to fit together? We won't know for several more months.
I'm ready for someone to say, why can't Syracuse get Body by Jake to be their strength and conditioning coach and spend all his money in advertising on Syracuse? Brilliant. Brilliant. Body by Jake. Is he still alive? Do you remember Body by Jake?
Yeah, I do remember him. I don't know if he's still alive or not.
Why can't Richard Simmons be the strength and conditioning coach? He's got a lot of money, and he could do his deal-a-meal plan for millions of dollars.
I don't think Richard Simmons is still with us.
He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he died.
Just offering up marketing
2
ideas.
years ago. Yeah.
Can you Google Body by Jake, Steve?
I guess so.
It's summer. Let's find out.
Okay.
Is this fitness guru alive?
It's not really summer yet.
Billy Blank said no.
He is still alive.
Okay, all right, there we go. Hey, marketing at Syracuse.
He's 68 years old.
Body by Jake. Think big. Brand.
Here's the thing. We talk about NIL and the need for more money infused into the program and so on and so forth. They hired a new athletic director. That was his strength.
Yes.
And you look at what he did at Toledo in 4 years. He's been here like a month. So let's see how it all goes from here on. I mean, he just moved here, full-time recently. So he's already gotten to work, and he's already made some changes, but it's very, very early in his tenure. And I think you got to let, he was hired to do NIL things. Let him do NIL things, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, like you mentioned major corporate sponsors, like say, let's just use a car brand, for example, Ford, all right? Ford doesn't need Gavin Doty.
Right.
Right? It's going to be a local car dealership.
Local dealerships that want to connect, the player with the
It's not
local
just some
customer.
simple thing like rolling out into Ford and being like, let's go.
Yeah. Correct. It's got to be the local dealerships.
All right. Let's take a break. Our next guest is on a computer and ready, so we'll get to him in 4.5 minutes.
All right,
Steve.
let's do that. Jamal Brunt joins us on the other side. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Let him cook. Correct. Let Blair cook. Ooh, a Flex Seal contract, Steve.
Alien tape.
Flex Seal would be good. Be like, red left a sinking ship, but we put Flex Seal on it. What do you think? No?
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. It has arrived at Romano Ford in Fayetteville. I'm talking about rare employee prices.
IKEA is already a sponsor. Alphabet guy. See, I'm wondering now more of like anything. Like IKEA sponsors us and SU Sports. Oh, Denny's. Moons over my hammy at what?
Denny's.
Yeah, I know, but how many? What do they do to get a moon over my hammy? Because Taco Time is 70, right?
Oh, what do you got to do?
Chris Bell, if Chris Bell was here, you'd
Score more points than whatever the temperature is then.
a crooked number of rebounds for Chris Bell. I don't know, but Arby's has a brisket sandwich that they're advertising now, and I was like, damn, that looks good.
Would you trust that, though? Would you trust Arby's to make a...
What am I going to not trust them? What do you mean by trust?
It's fast food. How good could it be?
What? No, trust is a different thing. Like, is it going to be good is different. Like, are they going to kill me? Like, is it going to be not brisket? What am I
that's
not,
what I'm saying.
What am I not trusting?
Yeah, like
It's a dog?
The quality of the food.
No, I think it'd be all right. I don't hate Arby's. I just... Drive-by says Arby's has the best fish sandwich ever. Guys, I'm not saying it's going to be good, like great, like better than Dinosaur. It just looked good. Like maybe you want a brisket sandwich. Good fish. The fish is so good it made Orton Johanna talk like a caveman. Yes, good fish. The steak nuggets were, I probably wouldn't order steak nuggets. Like, it's like the McRib. It doesn't look good, but you put that McRib sauce on a shoe and it's going to be good. Like, come on. Do you trust Arby's?
I, for one, do not.
That's a good slogan. Trust us. Trust us. We've got the meats. Now I'm going to have to go try the fish sandwich one of these road trips.
I didn't even know Arby's had fish.
They got everything. They got steak bites.
Yeah, right. That's
They
what I'm
got
saying.
the
Do you
meat.
trust that?
Yeah.
You trust.
Like, what do you mean
fish.
trust? Like, do I trust any fast food? I trust Arby's as much as the next guy. They're not going to kill me. Guys, it's a frozen fish patty, for God's sakes. Live a little.
Every single day. That's where Nye Automotive comes in.
I'm not asking you to eat sushi from Arby's.
We're right here.
They catch their own fish. They make their fish sandwiches out of Onondaga Lake.
You'll get honest guidance, no pressure, and service you can count on long after you drive off the lot. Because at Nye, it's not just about making a sale. It's about earning your trust for the road ahead. Whether you're commuting to work, heading to the big game, or packing up for a weekend.
Who like, you're the worst person for food, too. Who do you trust if you're going?
Some people agreeing with me on this.
Try and say, I love my Nye.
Listen to ESPN Radio Syracuse for your chance to win tickets to SU games and concerts. The Charles Heating Air Conditioning Plumbing and Electrical Ticket window. ESPN 97.7 100.1.
May 21st, 2026, Artist of the Day is Fleetwood Mac, but never forget, it could have been Leo Sayer.
Yeah.
Say his name, Steve.
Leo Sayer, missed opportunity. I didn't know who Leo Sayer was, but one of these days he will be Artist
That
of
is
the
the
Day.
new say his name.
Yes.
Leo Sayer.
All right, as promised, let's go to our guest line. If you happen to be watching us on QSportsTalk.com, you see our first guest live and in person, our first chance to catch up with one of the new assistant coaches for the SU men's basketball program, Jamal Brunt, joining us. Coach, it's great to have you on. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. Really excited to join you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and this is our first chance to kind of get to know you a little bit. So let's start with how you ended up here at Syracuse. How did this job come to be?
Coach McNamara and I, got to know one another. I actually coached in the ACC for 3 years at the University of Miami. So got to know him then, and you're in and around the business long enough. You pass cross, you sit in the same gyms, you're looking at a lot of the same teams, so you get to know one another. And then, kind of stay in touch from afar, have a lot of mutual friends. And obviously when he reached out about the opportunity to join him and obviously his guys from Siena and create the new staff up here, it was just an opportunity too good to pass up.
How about your overall coaching career? How did you get started in coaching, and was it something you always wanted to do?
No. So I played Division III basketball. For those that don't know, in Division III, you can get work study jobs. So I had a few work study jobs around campus, but one of them was working in the athletic department. And then around my junior year, I started working closely with the assistant coach at the time, stuffing envelopes, recruit mailing lists. And I started to kind of see all the work that went into it. And my head coach, Mike Rhodes, he always floated it out there to me, sophomore year, junior year, even my senior year. And one of the times I told him, I don't want to be a coach. I want my players talking about me like we talk about you, So that was not kind of what I had in mind. But as I continued to do that and just be around, I knew I wasn't going to kind of play professionally. I loved the game of basketball, wanted to stick around it. And, Coach actually offered me a job right away. So it was one full-time assistant and the head coach. And so I went home, kind of packed up some stuff, bought my first car, came back, got in the business, and 23 years later, here I am.
That is a great story, and I was going to say Mike Rhodes must have done something right because he hired you, and then you kind of followed him around to a few different stops, including VCU and Penn State. And how influential has he been in terms of your coaching philosophy as you come here to Syracuse?
I would say number one, just I'm actually, at the time, I probably didn't realize how fortunate I was to work under him, right out of college, right? Understanding what it takes to be an assistant coach at a high level. And, he pushed me. He demanded a standard of excellence. And again, I thought I knew what that was as a player. I had no idea, what it was or what it needed to be as a coach. And I'm lucky, because every step of the way, other head coaches I worked for, I think they were always pleased with my work ethic, the ability to execute whatever the things they asked me to do. And so I owe that all to Coach and how hard he drove me and pushed me those first 2 years with him at Randolph-Macon.
You spoke of a standard of excellence as a player. You're coming into Syracuse, and it hasn't been where it used to be as Syracuse. And, what are your thoughts on working at Syracuse and getting it back to what it used to be?
As I said, when Coach McNamara called me and offered me the opportunity, man, it was too good to pass up. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I've grown up watching, being a huge fan and understanding the players, the tradition, the history, obviously the winning. I got to experience that when on a visiting team's bench. But, right sandwich, those two Final Fours, 13 and 16, and obviously the talent and all of those things. So a huge standard of excellence. For me, it was attractive, right? You working at a place that won a national championship, multiple Final Fours. As a guy who coached basketball, loves basketball, it was just too good to pass up. And I'm excited. I'm excited about being here. I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited about the challenge. But that's what you want as a competitor. That's what you want as a coach, and expectations. And since I've joined the staff, you hear Arenze, Ryan Blackwell, they all talk about it. It's no greater feeling than being a Syracuse player, during times of success and the winning and all of the things that those guys experience. Like, that's the same experience that brought them back here and has them so excited to work, obviously, but also that's the experience that we're working every day to make sure that the new guys that come into the program and moving forward, that they share that same experience. So years down the line, when they look at their history and their time in college basketball, they say, man, it was no greater feeling. So yeah, it's a challenge ahead of us, but that's what we signed up for, and we're really looking forward to getting started.
Coach, you just spoke about why this program was the right fit for you. I would imagine that whenever you're going to make a jump, you want to make sure that your priorities are aligned with whoever you're going to be working for. So, Syracuse was the right fit for you as a program. Why was Jerry McNamara the right fit for you in terms of working with him as the head coach?
His passion, right? His belief, his basketball acumen. You can just tell that he's a basketball guy. He's won at a high level, every step of the way, from the time as a high school player, college player, assistant coach, head coach. He's been a part of winning. And, I think in this day and age of transactional, basketball and sometimes transaction in college athletics as a whole, he still has the belief that you can achieve, you can win, you can accomplish things at a very high level, right? When you still put relationships first. Obviously, you still put a premium on development. Those are the things he's about, and those are the things that I've been about, throughout my career. Not always, getting the finished product. I've been fortunate enough to recruit a lot of high-level players, to be a part of recruiting a lot of high-level players, but, still having the eye of evaluating, still having the work ethic to be in the gym, help guys grow and develop. And again, I just shared a lot of those same sentiments with him. And so, as I said before, just no-brainer, excited to be here.
Along those lines, you talk about relationships, and you're known as a very strong recruiter. You're also known as a really good defensive coach. How important is it when you're recruiting to identify the right guys who are going to buy in on that defensive end of the court. And it seems like, again, going back to Jerry, it seems like he had that at Siena in his 2 years there. He had guys that were buying in on both ends of the court, and they're high character guys. How important is that for a Power 4 school as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously huge. I would say, if anyone dives into the numbers, don't look at last year from a defensive standpoint, or they may be questioning the hire. But I think the main thing in any time you're going to work for a coach, and I've joined a few coaches that had already established a little bit, but I've also kind of been there during the beginning stages and obviously trying to rebuild rosters and things of that nature. I think the main thing is just trying to find the right fit for the head coach, more so than just necessarily defensively and offensively. I think you have to recruit a guy that fits your head coach first and foremost. And then obviously you dive into the details of, the style of play, both offensively and defensively, right? It's not like football where we got a 6-second play and then we're going to go back to the huddle and then offense is off and then defenses come on. You need to have guys that kind of really fit, how the head coach wants to play and obviously fits into his culture. So that's the main thing, just finding and identifying guys that can do all of those things and try to make the pieces fit. But I think first and foremost, it has to be a guy that fits with the head coach, and that coach believes in that young man and that family, and trying to think it's a great marriage. Because when you have that, right, everybody overachieves. Everybody, does special things. And so that's primarily right now, that's what I'm looking for.
A couple players stuck around from last year in Sadiq White and Kyan Anthony. Have you gotten to deal with them? And if you're a defensive guy, you got to be impressed with Sadiq White.
Yeah, no, very excited. Obviously, those were the two guys that were around in the spring. And, once I think I was hired April 7th. So been around seeing those guys in the gym. I think first and foremost, just anytime, once you play college basketball, I think as a young player, now you have a better feel for what you need to improve upon, right? So the greatest, experience is always the greatest teacher. Those guys kind of, got thrown in the fire and experienced playing as a freshman. So you could see right away their focus, their attention to detail, their want to get better being in the gym in the spring. And Sadiq, I mean, when you talk about defense, right, just his natural, God-given physical ability, his wingspan, his length, his athleticism, his anticipation. I watched him a lot in high school and was obviously always very, very impressed. But, now I get to be in the gym with him every day, and you get to see all of that up close and personal. So really, really excited about the opportunity to work with both of those guys and look forward to them getting back to campus.
You're from Baltimore, and Kyan's dad grew up in that area also. Any thoughts on him being around the program and memories of his career?
Yeah, so ironically, I went to what was then the rival high school to Carmelo before he attended Oak Hill. He actually went to Towson Catholic. It's since closed down, unfortunately, but it was a really, really good program in the Baltimore Catholic League. So my senior year in high school, he was a freshman. And so I had the opportunity to, watch him play, and was always, obviously anybody from Baltimore I'm rooting for. So to watch his career obviously grow to what it became, and first ballot Hall of Famer and all of those things. So as a Baltimore guy, that's huge. And then obviously now having an opportunity to be here and work with his son, looking forward to that. And then, trying to do everything I can to kind of help him reach his full potential as well.
That area has always been a big time recruiting area for Syracuse. Are you going to be in that area yourself, or is that going to be, are you guys just regions, or are you going to be everywhere?
I think, And in this day and age, like, you know, your relationships are always important. So obviously being from there, I'm definitely going to continue to recruit that area. It's been a part of what I've done throughout my career. Obviously, Arinze Onuaku was kind of Baltimore, you know, DMV, even though DMV people and Baltimore people won't say it's the same. They're not far apart. But, you know, so we have a lot of connections there, and we're going to continue to work that footprint. Obviously, you know, over the history and the tradition of Syracuse basketball, there's always been guys from both of those areas that have been a part of like a lot of winning here. So we want to continue to obviously keep that footprint available for us, and we're going into those are areas that are rich in talent. So we're definitely going to work to continue to try to get the best guys up here and be a part of this the growth, the tradition, the history that Syracuse has.
Coach, just a couple more for you before we let you go. You touched on Kyan and Sadiq. How about just your overall impressions of this roster? You know, now that you've got a dozen players on it, and it's it seems like you've got a full roster to work with. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're excited. You try to build rosters, right? You get the pieces that fit. It's not just accumulating talent. You know, it has to mesh, and you know, that was one of the things that we really tried to do. Obviously, in this day and age of the very large conferences, you have to be able to have pieces that can adjust in the style of a game, night in and night out. So you really want to try to have a little bit of everything. So we felt like we did that. Obviously, because there was so much roster turnover, we're looking forward to getting everybody to campus and getting in the gym with them to see it all come together, right? It's one thing to do the work to recruit them, but the real work begins when they get to campus and getting those guys in the gym working together. And obviously, you know, Coach McNamara, you know, that's something he does, right? You know, 2-year turnaround at Siena, you know, it's obviously building culture and getting guys to buy in is a major strength of his. So we're going to attack that as soon as these guys get to campus soon.
Last one from me. You know, we've been seeing the non-conference matchups kind of trickle out, and there was a report yesterday about this Rutgers game that's potentially going to be played at the Barclays and St. John's at the Garden, and we know about the one at the TD Garden in Boston and out in Indianapolis, certainly challenging yourselves in the non-conference. Do you have any sort of message for this fan base? It's a fan base that is starving for this team to return, this program to return to the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Just your thoughts on the schedule and trying to get it done here, in year one, because the fans are desperately hoping for another trip back to March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach McNamara said it best in his introductory conference, right? Press conference. He's here to win. I can speak for myself when I say I know, what Syracuse basketball looked like when I was growing up. I know what the Dome looked like, watching those games growing up as a kid and as a young coach. And then I was on the visiting team bench in the Dome, so I experienced that from an opposing team and all of those great things, right? We want to get back to doing, right? And I think, you can see by the schedule, Coach believes in what we're trying to do. He wants to, play against the best, these quote unquote best teams in the country right now. And in order to get back to where we want to go, right, those are the teams you got to beat. So let's put ourselves to the test. Obviously, Coach is a competitor. You have so many guys on the staff, Ryan Blackwell, Renze Anawaku, guys that played in Border Jersey as well. So the passion, the belief, all of those things are there. So I would tell the fan base, like, let's go, get behind this group. Let's get this thing going. Let's get Cuse back to where it belongs. And, talking not only to the fans, but the alums, right? I bumped into a few on the road. Those guys are excited. Those guys are really looking forward to the program, being where it belongs. And so, again, I think let's get going. Let's get behind these guys and let's get the Dome rocking again.
All right, Coach. We do this with all of the new coaches. Jerry McNamara picked Pearl Jam. Ryan Daly picked Luke Combs. You get to pick the artist of the day on our show tomorrow, so all of our bump songs will be from your favorite artist or band. Who it is?
Man, this is tough.
It could be anybody, any genre.
Any genre. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a 90s hip hop guy. So
nice. All right, we're in.
We're in on that. Who do you got?
Okay. I would say Notorious Big.
All right, let's go.
Biggie Smalls. Yeah. That was my guy. And if the fans don't like that one, I would say Nas would be my second guy. So one of those two.
We can do both. We'll do an hour of each.
We love them both. Paulie and I are both old school rap and R&B guys too. So yeah. It's funny, Coach. You were saying you were hired on April 7th. That's the anniversary of the national championship. I would imagine it was probably a coincidence, but that's a big date around here. Welcome aboard. It was a pleasure getting to know you here a little bit. Thanks so much for coming on, and enjoy getting your feet settled in here in the city of Syracuse, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. It was fun, and look forward to meeting you guys in person and talking again soon.
Absolutely. Will do. Coach Jamal Brunt joining us here on the program. And with that, we'll take a quick time out. We'll wrap up the first hour. On the other side, we'll check in on the market. We are back after this on ESPN Radio.
My green button's not working, Steve. Thank you. Rockwell says, Coach, Paul plays Sims and makes himself 6'2" with a lovely blonde wife, 2 boys, and a house, root beer fountain in the back. How do you think this aligns with Jerry's vision of team defensively? I was actually telling Steve, I make all of my video game people my actual height. So if I play I asked a lot of questions that interview, Michael Antonio, so maybe you should pay attention. I made myself a 5'6" first baseman in the show, and I absolutely crushed homers. Rockwell asks, why do I add 2 inches? Yeah, I am 5'6". I'm not adding anything. I'm not trying to trick anybody. Rockwell. That's my new nickname for him, Rockwell. No, it's his nickname, Rockwell. Google who Rockwell is. I am a girthy 5'6". Thank you. Rockwell. It's just my new nickname for him. Yes, Bill Shaw got it. It's just his nickname. Chesty, I didn't know that was it. I've never seen Boogie Nights. Famous Rockwells. You're the second person to say it. Chesty Rockwell from Boogie Nights. Did you see Boogie Nights? I have never seen it. That doesn't seem like a movie that would interest you, Steve. Now I know there's a whole sordid side of you. Thank you. We already said who he was, Gaper. Go read the chat. I wasn't antsy at all. It's already been, your nickname's already been exposed. Norman Rockwell, good one. Hey, Gaper, you are the worst at reading people, by the way. I didn't even do that either, Gaper. It was just your nickname. Is now Rockwell. Rockwell Power Tools. Good one.
Who's on from the market?
Oh, I don't know. Good question, Steve. Let me open the call manager. This is gonna be close. Let it cook, okay? Let it cook, Steve. Right. This is Fleetwood Mac is our artist of the day. Let's go to Lee from Lee Baldwin.
Lee, what's up? How's the market doing today?
Hey, what's up, guys? Nothing wrong with Fleetwood Mac. And nothing wrong with the Dow trading over 50,000 again yesterday, but it's not holding, and it's down about 125 points, so not much on this session. We do have a nice diamond today, though. Big Blue is up 7%. That's IBM for those at home. There was some positive news about quantum computing, so we can talk about that instead of AI for a day. And our dog is Walmart, falling $10 to about $120 per share. That's a pretty good price cut for the retailer. And finally, guys, the SpaceX IPO is getting closer to reality.
All right. I heard it's going to be worth a lot, right? Like it's going to go through the roof or to the moon. Or
to the moon. I like that. Yeah, it's gonna rocket up pretty good on the first day, I think. So it might be the biggest one of all time. So.
They said it could make him the first trillionaire.
I think so.
Wow.
Think about that.
I'm going to go for second.
Good luck.
Thanks,
Not
Lee.
in radio. Lee, thanks for coming on. All the diamonds, none of the dogs. Be sure to visit LeeBaldwin.com.
Your defunct store of the day, Steve, Sports Authority. Remember that?
Yeah, it's out of business?
Yeah.
Is it?
Bankrupt in 2016.
Okay.
It was acquired by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Ah, gotcha.
So, sad news for you there, right? Just finding out.
10 years later. I had no idea. Shows you how often I shop there.
Well, it's kind of like, this is a kind of a morbid, sad thing. It kind of is what I was talking to you about earlier was I looked up an old friend who had, then I discovered they had passed away. And I was like, geez, it's crazy how you go to high school with somebody and you never see them again.
Yeah.
And then I decided to look up more and just the amount of people that I know who have died and I haven't talked to and never will now. It's sad.
Yeah. When you say all of these people, how many people, like, give me an
well, I don't know. I didn't sit and count.
Several, but a handful?
Yeah. I didn't, like.
I'm saying it's
every 5
more than you would expect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's just a lot of people that you just.
Yeah. You lose touch with.
You only think of every once in a while.
Yeah.
Hug your relatives.
Yeah. No, it's good advice. It's good advice. Really enjoyed that interview with Jamal Brunt.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. All right.
Steve.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a shout out.
For me?
Today is, I'm going to give you flowers. Today is the opening day, or yesterday was, one or the other, of Mandalorian, the movie. And I'm wearing the shirt you bought me for Christmas.
I did
with
buy
Yoda
shirt.
on it.
Yep.
It's somehow the same species as Grogu from The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Do you have a favorite saying
I actually
on
have
that?
not even read it.
You haven't read them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this one. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, I like that one too.
There you go.
I like that one too. All right, we're going to hit a break here. We're going to drive into our second hour. We've got David Uben from The Athletic, college football writer. He will join us on the other side. We are back after this on ESPN Radio.
I went half and half, Michael Antonio. Yes, all the women shot me down, Gaper. My whole life has just been one huge female rejection. I text Pete and he doesn't respond to me. I've given up on him.
I think Pete's too big for us.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Like, we used to have a good relationship with him, and then he just kind of stopped.
I used to go out drinking with that guy.
Stopped coming on.
No, he's not my friend anymore.
He's a very busy person, in his defense. He's very
I don't
busy.
get bitches either. I didn't get beat up, no. I wasn't going to fight anybody. I'm too freaking small. That's right. I asked God for a bitch that would sit on my face, and he gave me Indy. Because she always sits right here, Steve.
That's cute.
I think he misunderstood me. That was my joke of the day. Rockwell, how is that? Ha ha, laugh at my joke. I asked for a bitch to sit on my face and I got a dog. Steve, have you ever said the word bitch?
Have I said the word? Yes, I've said the word.
You ever said bitchin'? Can we bring back bitchin'? That's a bitchin' Camaro. How dare you? Steve won't say poop near an open mic. How the hell are you going to get him to say bitch? Steve is funny. You have to choke. That is one of my favorite Chappelle segments. Who sang Bitchin' Camaro? Did anybody remember that song? You ever punch someone, Steve? I've gotten in fights with friends and my brothers, but never like a stranger.
Yeah, I got into a fight with a friend.
Yeah, I never punched a stranger. Punching a stranger. That's my new euphemism for something. I don't know what, but. What can that be a euphemism for? Punching a stranger.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't want to enhance my personal life, guys. I've lived a good life. Now I'm on the back nine and I'm just riding it out.
I think hopefully we just made the turn.
Yeah, I want it to last longer. I'm okay with everything now. Like you know what? I'm sitting on my couch watching a baseball game. That's fine. If I'm dating somebody, that's fine. If not, that's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Go your own way, Steve. Fleetwood Mac, everything's a banger, right? You can legitimately say that. Did you know Rumors was the biggest selling rock album last year?
I had no idea. Why is that?
Rock has kind of lost its way.
Okay.
So, yeah, put that in your nugget department and share that at a party.
We
You'll
are
be the talk of the town.
We're driving into our second hour. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero and Burdick Toyota. And we kick off the second hour by bringing on another guest, David Uben from The Athletic, college football writer. Joining us now, David, let's jump right in with Syracuse. We saw the other day that SU's over-under in Vegas win total set at 5.5. Paulie and I seem to think that's about right. What do you make of that? And do you think Syracuse gets back to a bowl game this year?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you can stay healthy, I think that goes a long way. I mean, last year, once Steve Angeli went down, the team was kind of, a little bit adrift. Ultimately, I think that there's an upside there. I've written about Fran Brown in the past. I think he's a great coach from a macro perspective, but when you don't have the guys, it gets tough. And obviously the quarterback injury was a big deal for them last year. So, I think that sounds about right, but I would probably take the over if I'm looking at it.
You bring up Steve Angeli, and Paulie and I were talking about this the other day, that he's really the one known commodity on this team going into 2026. What else stands out to you, if anything, about Syracuse in 2026, aside from the fact that Angeli's coming back from that injury?
I mean, nothing that jumps off the map at you. I think it's at some point you're sort of just trusting the staff to evaluate and find guys that fit what they want to do. I mean, the personnel is not going to jump off the tape at you. Shuffling the staff a little bit, I think that can help. But ultimately, I think that the new era of college football, especially in the portal era, the idea of the hotshot recruiter has kind of gone away. Now, I think more than ever, it's an evaluator's game. And if you can evaluate guys that fit for you and that can make an immediate impact, then it's been, you look at the conference races, from top to bottom, they've been pretty unpredictable because it's hard to predict, how guys are going to thrive and or struggle in new situations. So to me, I think you look at, hey, did we do our homework? Is the evaluation there? And Fran Brown's got a pretty good track record of that.
You look at the ACC as a whole, David, and I just pulled up the NCAA national championship odds. Miami is the only one from the ACC in the top 15 or so, and they're seventh overall. We know that the ACC is a step behind, or maybe a few steps behind the SEC and the Big Ten. What do you make of the ACC conference as a whole, and do you think it's starting to improve? Do you see any signs that maybe it's going to get better?
I think it would help them if Clemson would play up to their potential, and if Miami would somehow lose its allergy to the ACC championship game, that would probably help. But I mean, there's some solid teams at the top there. I mean, I think SMU will be back. I mean, again, Kevin Jennings on the short list of 3-year starters at quarterback. There's just not a lot of those in the entire sport. It looks like I think it's like him and CJ Bailey, and it's pretty modest beyond that. I do like NC State's upside. Speaking of CJ Bailey, I think Virginia Tech, certainly the floor has risen and the ceiling has risen with James Franklin there. Do you have the personnel to compete? That's something to look at. But it's every league. You need your big guys to be big guys. When the leagues are thriving, that's when that happens. Florida State, can they get back? We mentioned Miami, obviously Clemson, pretty disappointing years for two of those three. And so that opens the door for a team like Duke to win the ACC title and still not make the playoff, which certainly doesn't help the league. So, ultimately, you need your blue bloods to start acting like blue bloods.
You brought up Clemson. What do you make of what's going on there? Have they jumped the shark, so to speak? That topic came up on our show the other day. Or do you think they'll get back in the mix? Like, is this Clemson team, in your opinion, going to be back in the mix for an ACC title and potentially a bid to the national, the national tournament?
I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if that was the case, because you look at last year, right? When you see last year play out the way that it does, you're thinking, well, maybe they didn't have as much talent as you thought, looking at the All-American team. And then you look at the NFL draft and you're like, no, they did. The NFL agrees on that. And if you have that much talent and you're still going 7-6 and not really competing for anything of meaning, I mean, this is going to be a less talented Clemson team. You're breaking in a new quarterback. We'll see how that – it seems like it's going to be Vizina, right? But, he doesn't have the upside of Cade Klubnik, maybe not an NFL guy. Defensively, you're not going to have, a bunch of, preseason All-Americans running around there at every level. So I don't really see it. I think, to me, you look at this Clemson team, I see, 7-8 wins again if they're playing up to their potential. The Chad Morris thing, I think, could go either way, honestly. In some ways, it's are you sort of misguidedly looking back? But does getting back to times when you were thriving, does that help you become what you were? It's hard to say. But I just don't think they have the dudes to really compete. I thought last year we were going to get a Clemson revenge tour. They had the pieces to destroy everybody in the ACC, and you look around at their competition, it wasn't that steep. I mean, I covered the ACC championship game. I watched Duke and Virginia. Those teams are not as talented in the same ballpark as Clemson.
Yeah.
And yet Clemson's sitting at home, waiting on the Pinstripe Bowl to kick off. So I don't see it this year.
Two-part question in regards to how we saw last year end up. Indiana comes from out of nowhere to win the national title. So part one of that question, is Indiana here to stay? Are they going to be, I'm not saying necessarily winning the national title year in and year out, but are they a player year in and year out, in your opinion, moving forward? And then the second part of that question is, do you see someone kind of flying under the radar right now, like in Indiana was last year, that you think might make a big jump here in 2026?
I mean, you look at Indiana, they did about as well in the portal as anybody could have asked, adding a bunch of pieces. Nick Marsh, from Michigan State, obviously Josh Hoover, the quarterback coming over. They added some really nice pieces. Talk about being an evaluator sport. I think you'd be hard-pressed to look at anybody in the sport right now that's doing that better than Kurt Cignati. Indiana is going to be there. Indiana is going to be in the playoff again this year. They're probably going to compete for a national title. I would not bet against them at all. As far as teams that might be the next Indiana, I would look at Oklahoma State, a team I think has gone winless in Big 12 play the last 2 years. But Eric Morris, really, really good coach, really, really good offensive coach. They've needed that, understands the modern era of college football, portaled over. A bunch of guys from North Texas I think will help them be a lot more productive, and upgraded their talent there. And I think they're a team that, I don't know if they're going to win the Big 12, but I think they're going to really be a major player in that Big 12 race, which is kind of amazing. You can do that so quickly when the program had eroded so much late under Mike Gundy.
We're hearing all these reports about, the NCAA looking into the possibility of a 24-team playoff. What do you think of that? There's some who say that it waters down the regular season and means the regular season, doesn't mean as much. But then there are others that say it's exciting and it gives us more teams have a chance. What do you think of what's your take on the 24-team playoff?
I think it devalues the regular season quite a bit. I don't know how you could say anything else.
Yeah.
The idea is, we went from 4 to 12, and there were more games that were relevant and more games that had a lot of shaping the national championship race. Now, I think that's true, and I don't think that you really devalued more than maybe a handful of games where you're playing there at the end. I think the top of that list is obviously the conference championship games in the Big Ten and the SEC, but people still watch those. But when you go to 24, the idea that we're going to have all these games, it's okay, well, the entire I guess, sort of central theme of college football is every team, especially those competing for national championships, puts all their chips in the middle of the pile every single fall Saturday. And so you can say, oh, well, that Iowa-Minnesota game is more meaningful now. Okay, maybe, but then every game that Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia and all these schools play is suddenly really not meaningful at all because they're probably going to get in every single year. Whereas you come into some Saturdays where, there's not a lot of games that people are making appointments to watch, and then all of a sudden Vandy's up on Alabama and the entire shape of the national championship race can be reshaped in one weekend when nobody sees it coming. That is gone in the 2014 era, and I think people forget how much value there is in that and why that makes the regular season the best regular season in sports. And I think going from 4 to 12, I think did improve the sport. I think the 14 playoff really had a lot of really negative outcomes that people didn't foresee. I'm an 18 playoff myself, but 12 has been okay. I think 16 is kind of towing the line, but 24, I think people are going to see that this really does hurt the regular season very quickly.
Yeah, it does seem like too many. We got to ask you about the Brendan Sorsby case and, everything that's transpired. And now, he's suing to try and be able to play this last year. I know it's a complicated case, but, just Cliff Notes version for you. What stands out to you the most about it? And do you think he should be allowed to play next season?
I don't think it's complicated at all. You bet on your team. You can't play anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't think it's a complicated case. I feel sympathy for him. I understand that, gambling addiction, that's a mental health disorder. But you bet on your team. That's the one thing that you cannot do in sports. We've known this for a century plus. You just can't do it. And the entire enterprise of sports at every level lives off of knowing that these contests are on the up and up. And it doesn't really matter that you only bet for your team to win. That doesn't really matter. People that are participating in these games cannot bet on their teams. And if they do, this is the one place where I think you have to have draconian penalties. And I don't think we're going to see him play college football again.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All right, David, we appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. David Uben from The
Great
Athletic
job, Steve.
joining us here on the program. And with that, we'll open up the phone lines the rest of the way. If you want to check in, 315-437-7644. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
I've told you guys that story. I got stuck in that, that part of the thruway between Buffalo and Pennsylvania where the only rest stop is that walk across the bridge. I got stuck in nowhere land and I ended up, I was almost crying while I was driving. Luckily, I had a suitcase with me because I was on a road trip and I just threw everything out and then put on the clothes. There you go. So I'm man enough to admit I pooped my pants.
Quite a story.
I once was changing a light bulb. This is a great story. And I was up on a ladder. My friend was holding the ladder, and I thought it was funny to fart on him. And I sharted.
Oh, my God. Come on.
What? It happens. If you've never done it, you're lying. I imagine that happens on the golf courses way more times than you can imagine. Yeah. Florida guy just did it. He's not going to answer that question. And if he does, he's going to lie. You ever have a stomach bug? It was a karma shard. It was. I wouldn't have done it with shorts on, but I had jeans on, so I was consider it at least. Q66 held too long, and all the stalls were full at his office. See, Steve, all the cool guys are doing it. I gambled and lost on that trip back from Nebraska. I thought I could hold it. Karma Shirt is opening K-Rockathon this year also. Yeah, Steve, you're not cool unless you've shat your pants. Sometimes you get a little stomach bug. How's everybody on YouTube doing? YouTube people poop their pants. It happens.
Sunshine, warmer weather, spring has finally sprung. Yes, and you know what that means, Mike. Business now?
Sure. We're talking about me doing business in my pants.
Just in time.
You ever shart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know it, but I've had my moments.
Steve's not going to even acknowledge this topic's happening right now.
It's been a while, I'll say that.
It gets worse as you get older, bro. So enjoy your.
It's been a couple years at least.
Enjoy your clean pants. I did it once when I was really drunk too. At a urinal. At a urinal.
Did you go home right after?
No, I went down to Stephen Barry's, bought new pants, went back to drinking. I was at a Kahuna.
I would have went right home.
No, I just went and bought more clothes. Drinking was
Hide your room for a month.
Drinking was nobody knew. Drinking was way more important to me back then. Go buy a cheap pair of Dockers at Stephen Barry and no, Tim's on his way to. Back then, you drink at Kahunaville, Hooters, Pizzeria Uno. Mall drinking was fun back in the day. I'm talking to the chat. You don't worry about it. The men are talking. Don't stop believing. Not going to tell everybody what we were talking about during the commercial break, but it was locker room talk, and it was fun. YouTube. Dave joins us to give us today's business. He creeps out of the woodwork every once in a while when nobody else is available.
That's right. Tim Leonard.
Every couple months.
Tim Leonard on his way down to the Final Four.
Paul didn't want to work.
Team left today, and here's
stuck with me.
Here's David. So what do you got for today's business?
Brought to you by Superior Plus Propane. Steve, you brought up the Game 2 a little bit earlier of the Western Conference Finals. I thought it was a pretty good game. Every time I thought Oklahoma City was going to pull away and bury them, San Antonio came down. He made some timely threes. Wemby had his moments. I'm just hope that both teams can stay healthy at this point. There's a lot of injury concerns.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams had to leave due to hamstring injury, along with Dylan Harper. That was a big loss as well. Yeah. It's been a great series so far. I just hope injuries don't kind of ruin it.
Yeah.
That's
both
where I'm
teams lost one guy last night, and you wonder what their availability is for Game 3. I'm with you. Both games were played at a high level. We certainly saw what happened towards the end of that Game 1 where Wemby went off and went for over 40 and 20, and they won the game in overtime. And you're right. Last night, OKC, there was a lot of urgency. I thought they were going to win by double figures.
Same here.
The Spurs just kept making runs, and, ultimately the Thunder were able to hang on. But I think this series is going to go for a bit. And for a while I thought the Thunder was untouchable, and, Oklahoma City was going to win the NBA Finals, no problem. I don't feel like that anymore. I think the Spurs are, just as good, or maybe just a smidge behind them in terms of who should be favored. But I think this is going to be a 6 or 7 game series, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you think Wemby would last in 80s or 90s ball? Do you think he would translate?
I do, because his skill set is just he's unguardable at times.
I feel like he would be hurt.
Here's the thing. Like if you were saying
if Allen Iverson was different? Do you think he's built like they probably weigh the same amount, but like Allen Iverson was tough and he got thrown to the ground all the time. Do you think Wemby could do a full season of that?
So what I was going to say is, like, if you imagine him going up against like Shaq, for instance, or like Bill Laimbeer, Wemby has the ability to pull you away from the basket, and nobody played like that back then, really. I mean, he's a 7'4" guy who can shoot threes. He can put the ball on the floor.
He would have to live out there, though.
Yeah, he wouldn't be posting up. I mean, now if he gets like Alex Caruso on him, like he's been having on this series, you get him the ball in the post. But I think he's so good and so versatile that he would find a way to exploit your weakness, whatever that is. In the case of like Shaq, it would be, he would use his ability to shoot from the outside to beat him,
right,
or his first step to beat him.
Ryan Mont says Manute Bull didn't get hurt, but like Manute Bull didn't put the ball on the floor.
We can't. That's not even a comparison.
Like if Manute Bull tried to take the ball to the basket for more than 2 dribbles, he would have been broken in half.
Yeah, no, you can't compare Wemby to Manute Bull. I mean, that's not a fair comparison. I mean, his skill set is, yes, I think it would translate to any era.
Okay. I just think he would struggle getting the ball to the rim as easily as he does.
He would, but I think he would still be effective, and he would still find ways to beat you. Now, in the defensive end, he might take some punishment. Like if Shaq's posting him up down low, he's going to have to get more physical. But yes, I think that his skill set, especially his offensive skill set, would translate. And being 7'4", defensively, that would translate to he still would block shots.
It's weird watching
previous
him play
day.
like when he dunks, it looks like me on a Nerf hoop.
Yeah,
it's the putbacks. He'll miss a layup and just go and grab it with one arm and throw it down.
Yeah,
did it twice yesterday.
I was going to say there was one in particular in the fourth quarter that he just grabbed it and dunked it. That was a great analogy, Paul. He was like on a Nerf hoop. He jumped like 2 inches off the ground.
Just tap it in.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you guys tonight. I don't know if you guys know how athletic I am when it comes to a Nerf hoop.
Love to see it. Game 2 tonight of the Eastern Conference Finals. I feel like it's a must-win for Cleveland because they've played 2 Game 7s already. The Knicks had almost 2 weeks to rest, coming off that 22-point blown lead. Got to get it done tonight, or they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, I think they're already in big trouble. I think Game 1 was their chance, and they had that momentum coming off of the grueling 7-game series. The Knicks had that long layoff. We talk about the rest versus rust all the time. The Knicks looked rusty for about 3.5 quarters, and then all of a sudden they weren't, and they hit their stride. And now, they've got it clicking going into Game 2. Cleveland has to live with the fact that they squandered what would have been home court advantage if they win that game. I don't know how the Cavs bounce back tonight. I mean, that is going to be a tough. Their mental approach will be tested because physically we know they can hang with the Knicks, obviously, but that was a devastating loss. I'm curious to see what kind of resiliency they show in this game tonight.
Looking for defensive adjustments. Does James Harden stay on Brunson again every possession, or do they throw wrinkles at him?
I mean, I think you got to change it up.
Have to.
And if Harden's going to struggle on offense, the way he did down the stretch of that game,
that too.
He might see less minutes. I mean, you look at clearly
got to change something.
Clearly, the difference in that game down the stretch was they were targeting James Harden, and they made the Cavs pay for him being on the floor. Kicker, Paul.
No. Yankees update.
Oh.
Brought to you by Wildcat.
Okay.
What happened?
Cam Schlittler pitched great. Wasn't good enough, though, as they come up short. They lose 2-1. Schlittler, 7 Ks in 6 innings. Jazz Chisholm he continues to swing a hot bat. He's batting .522 in his last 6 games. They close out their series with the Blue Jays tonight. And my Athletics picked up a big win last night, 6-5 over the Angels.
Oh, the mighty Angels.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you guys know this. I should warn everybody. Get your fire hoses ready. It's going to be a hot take, Steve. That Shohei Ohtani guy's pretty good. His ERA is .73.
Yeah.
0.73. It went down yesterday.
Yeah.
He led off the game with a home run, and that's all they needed. I'm also watching the downfall of somebody I thought was going to be the face of baseball, and it makes me sad. Fernando Tatis is bad. Oof. He's bad. I don't hate him.
Tough to watch.
I don't hate him. I don't boo him, but I'm watching a fan base that had nothing to be happy about for years, and he came along, just turn on him. They hate him. The Twitters hate him.
Yeah.
Happens quickly.
Yeah. He can't hit the ball. He can't hit anything but ground balls. It's bad.
What do you think is the answer? You can't send him down to AAA, right?
No, he's just got to
work his way through.
You almost have to bat him eighth and just hope he gets through it.
Yeah.
He's playing second base great. He's playing outfield great. He's just terrible with a bat.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Hey, do you want there was a couple records broken yesterday, Steve. Would you like the gross one or the feel-good one first?
I'm going to get the gross one out of the way. I always take the bad news first. Bad news first. What is it?
Gonorrhea and syphilis have hit record levels across the world, Steve. Yesterday it was announced. How is that still possible in 2026? So, yeah, those are the record levels. Highest levels since 2015. So be careful out there. Siri is talking to me, Steve. She's saying, I don't have gonorrhea. 247 climbers. This is one of my favorite things, Steve. Climbed Mount Everest yesterday. Oh, shut up! 247 climbers.
For those who couldn't hear, his phone was
awesome.
Continuing to talk to him. Siri was still talking.
Somebody asked what kind of phone I have. There you go. Now you know. 247 climbers scaled Mount Everest in a single day yesterday, Steve. It's the most ever.
They all survived?
That's coming out of Kathmandu. Hopefully. One of my favorite places to say. Also, Kathmandu.
Okay.
If you could go to one place with a weird name, where would it be? Kathmandu? Lake Titicaca?
I got nothing.
Serbia. That's a fun one to say.
Is it? Yeah, I was going to say, what defines
I don't know, just fun to say.
Serbia is fun to say.
Kathmandu.
Slovakia.
Okay, there you go. See, you played along.
I did. I have no interest in going there, but I did
just
it to
somewhere
shut
fun
you up.
to say.
Okay.
All right, we do have to create a poll, Dave, when you get out there. Should we bring back starting fives?
Yes,
tomorrow?
we should. Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but we should bring them back at some point.
So put up a poll, and if the listeners, I'm going to let the listeners decide.
Okay.
If they would like to have us bring back starting fives.
I think we had a guest cancel on us tomorrow, so tomorrow would be a great day to do it.
Have we done cartoon dogs yet?
I thought we were going to do instrument. I thought we were going to do musical instruments.
Musical instruments would be a good one. Okay. So if the listeners want us to
cartoon dogs, it would work as well.
Starting 5 instruments tomorrow. We'll
Okay.
do that.
All right. Paul, do we have one more segment or two? We got two more segments. Okay. All right. David, thank you. We're going to take a break here. Paulie and I will be back after this. Phone lines open, 315-437-7644. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
LA Orange, I think that would make AI explode. By the way, I didn't have my mic up for this, but Vo from 185 says he's 42 and never crapped his pants. Why do you guys think that, what if Siri, when I said syphilis, went up and said, yeah, and you got it, jackass? What if they said that? What if it said that? But then you guys would be like, Siri doesn't know anything because you can't get women. I would guess Tim has softer hands. I'll let you know. I won't see Tim until Monday, so I'll rub them together. We'll have them come in and I'll rub their hands. Are they opening K-Rockathon? Floating Cabazas? I do like the name of a band called Karma Shart, though. That would be fun. Ooh, Trader Joe's coming to Fairmount. Like it. I've never been to a Trader Joe's. You?
Right on Erie Boulevard, yeah.
I've been to the bookstore there. What is it? I buy cards at the bookstore there. Starting fives are kicking butt.
Should we wait until Tim's here, though? Do it right so that he can take part like we did with Jordan where we each have a team.
No.
So who's going to be the third team? Or is it just
Tomorrow's an exhibition game.
Okay.
Preseason exhibition game. Get back in the groove. This is a good bump. You can't go wrong with Fleetwood Mac, Steve. Lee Baldwin said it best.
It's a good artist of the day, but I still
Say his name,
I'm
Steve.
thinking about what could have been
with Leo Sayer.
Yeah. Can he be an option for tomorrow?
No, we have Biggie and Nas.
Oh, right. Next week.
Maybe Monday. Well, we're going to have to vote on... Oh, no, never mind.
Monday's a holiday.
Tuesday. So we'll have to vote on Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to Scooter.
Scooter, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good. How are you?
After listening to you guys, they got the Knicks Classic. They got Louisville playing against Boston Celtics. I know this is the one he gets the last-second shot to beat him. They got McCallum Bird. In fact, he just hit a jumper. But he's one of the guys that people forget. Well, he had a nice little NBA career besides Syracuse. And it's like, I grew up obviously in the 70s and 80s with him, so. But he was always one of my favorite players. Paul, I'm thinking of a person that you could post up, and the name tattoo from Fancy Island comes to mind. What do you think?
Hervé Villachez.
Yeah.
I even know his actual name. I don't think he's around anymore.
I don't think so. But do you remember? He got married? I think it only lasted a month or something like that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, some hot model or something like that. And
all right, now I got to Google that. Maybe Emmanuel Lewis. I don't know if he's still with us. I could post him up too, Steve.
You could post him up there, but it'd be a good thing. You know, it was interesting. I called about the Detroit bagging it when only down 12 with about 4 to go, and they tried to put their starters in. But thank God the Knicks didn't have that mentality, or else they wouldn't have won last time. But just amazing, just the mentality of some of these games where they just decide it's just too much to overcome. But when you think about it, 22 points in 7 minutes and 49 seconds. I mean, that's incredible.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
And to me, it's nuts. It was just. I'm just thinking back to that Detroit Monday game, Game 6, where they just decided that 12 points in 3.5 minutes was too much. And then the next game, I think Cleveland's down 9. And they decide not to pull their players, and they come back and win it. It's just to me, it's just interesting. You're talking about injuries. You know, I keep hearing how the NBA's faster, but I don't think so. I mean, they seem to walk the ball up. But I just think it's basically the physicalness as far as what they do in the off season. Because I mean, these injuries are usually non-contact. It's pulled muscles and stuff like that, or it's almost to a point where if somebody hurts their calf, you can almost expect that the Achilles tendon is going to be the next thing that's going to be hurt.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, Scooter. Appreciate you coming on. That comeback was unbelievable. And it really changes the whole complexion of this series now. You know, instead of Cleveland not needing tonight at all and just going back home with home court advantage the rest of the way, now all of a sudden it becomes, are the Knicks going to win this thing in 4 or 5? Cavs are going to have to show some resiliency and bounce back from what happened. That's going to be a tough thing to do. Webster is alive. Emmanuel Lewis.
That is the most shocking thing I think I've ever heard.
He's essentially your age, right? He's 55.
Yeah, he's still alive. He is 4 foot.
4'3".
4'3".
So you'd have more than a foot on.
He's a year younger than he's 54, right?
Oh,
he just turned 55 in March. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's 55. He has a #1 hit record in Japan.
Who knew?
He hasn't acted since 2008, but he's graduated from Clark University in Atlanta. He's a practitioner of Taekwondo, Steve.
Okay.
You think you could beat him? If you get beat up by Webster, that'd be bad. Probably whoop our butts.
Probably would. He probably would.
You get flipped over by Webster?
Don't underestimate him.
I know. I'm a little guy.
One thing we did not get to in today's business, your boy, Aaron Rodgers, says it's going to be his last ride.
Yeah, good. I hope he gets I hope the younger quarterbacks learn from him this year in the Steelers QB room. I hope he gets him back to the playoffs, and we all live happily ever after.
Yeah. Said that if Mike McCarthy were not hired, that he would not be there. Said that was the whole reason that he went back to Pittsburgh. Said he probably would have played somewhere else.
I think he probably would have played for Tomlin again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. He said once Tomlin left that he was thinking he was going to. He didn't even say retire. He was going to go sign with somebody else, and then they brought in Mike McCarthy, and he was like, okay, well. And then they had some conversations, and
what's that say about the quarterback position nowadays?
That he's an option?
Yeah, like he shouldn't be an option. Like there's just no good quarterbacks.
I think he's only an option for a few teams. I don't think.
But I don't think he's worse than. Like you go past the top 10, everybody's the same, right? There's no stand like. Josh Allen. I just turned him into Webster.
Emmanuel Lewis. All right, so I pulled up the stats from last year in terms of passing yards. So this is just the list of passing yards. So I'm going to go down the list. Stop me when somebody's better than, or when Aaron Rodgers is better than one of these guys. Stafford, Goff, Prescott, Drake May, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert.
Slow down.
Well, I'm saying stop me when you're like, oh, yeah,
I know.
he's better than that
I'm trying to
guy.
open it myself.
Okay.
So I can look at it. I need to think, Steve. I can't just hear names.
All right, for our listeners, I'm going to continue. So Herbert was 9.
Stafford.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Goff. Prescott. May.
Can you do this? I'm saying names. Like when I say a name that Aaron Rodgers is better than, stop me. Because I'm
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield is better than Aaron
Josh
Rodgers.
Allen. Yeah, but is Josh Allen's better than most of those guys, and he's number.
I know.
Going by
I'm
this
not.
stat
Hang
is
on.
Stupid.
No, it's not stupid. I'm not saying that this is the ranking. I'm saying I just randomly
Because I
pulled
think
up.
I would rather have him than Baker Mayfield right now.
I would not. I mean, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, like these are all.
He's better than Jacoby Brissett.
He's probably better than Jacoby Brissett.
Jalen Hurts, I'm indifferent.
Jalen Hurts is better than Aaron Rodgers.
Is he?
Yes.
They win despite of him. Cam Ward?
If you were talking about next year, I would take Cam Ward instead of Aaron Rodgers. Yes. C.J. Stroud.
Daniel
and
Jones,
as
I would
much
take him
as
over
Stroud
Daniel
struggled,
Jones.
I would take C.J. Stroud right now over Aaron Rodgers.
But what I said was they're all the same. You're not getting that much better with Aaron Rodgers and C.J. Stroud.
All right. And by the way,
Geno
we're down
Smith?
We're down into the 17, 18, 19
Yeah,
right now.
I said after 10, I got to about 15.
Okay, and it takes me about 20 to get to, which is what I said.
Like
There's
Lamar
only-
Jackson is 23rd, and I would take him over 90% of
Of course you would. Paulie, these aren't the rankings. I just pulled it up so we would have names in front of us. So there are at least 20 quarterbacks that you would take over Aaron, in my opinion. At least 20 that you would take over
I don't
Aaron
know that
Rodgers.
there's 20. I think that they're also pretty much the same once you get past 15. You're going to get the same result.
I don't know about that. And I think at this stage too, with him being 42, I would rather a young guy who was like, if you could say right now, you could have Cam Ward or Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers next year. Who
You're building for the future.
Right. I
Absolutely.
understand that. So I'm saying that you said, what does it say about the quarterback position? And what it says is, my response was, there are only a few teams out there that Aaron Rodgers would be an option for. And it just so happens the Steelers are one of them right now. But, I would say that maybe a handful of teams would be interested in Rodgers. Say McCarthy was not the head coach there. Tomlin, was fired and they signed somebody else and Rodgers wanted to go elsewhere. I think there's a market of like 4 or 5 teams that maybe would be interested.
Yeah. I'm not upset with it. I think he's fine. You're just trying to hate on the Steelers. Why do you hate
I'm not hating on the Steelers. I'm asking you what you think of it. That's all.
I'm fine with it. I told you, they don't have Cam Ward. They can't get Cam Ward.
Right.
So you go with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And hopefully you can get a Cam Ward in the future.
Okay. Well, you asked me the question. You said, what does it say about the state of the quarterback position in the league? And I'm not sure it makes any sort of grand statement. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, like I said, it's not like everybody would be clamoring for him. I think there are a very few number of teams that would be interested if he hit the free agent
Malik Willis
market.
shouldn't even be really. That's who people were clamoring for this year.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot right now with their
That was my
quarterback
point.
situation. They And I think this is good for everybody involved. As you said, it's a swan song for him. Everybody can make a big deal of him because that's what he loves. One more go round, and he can do it with a coach that he loves, and he can mentor younger guys, and so on and so forth. But the Steelers need to move on, and so does he, frankly.
Yeah, and if the line holds up for him, he'll be better this year. He's got better receivers.
Yeah,
that's all it is. He'll be okay. And hopefully you can get a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, and as you said, next year's draft class is better than this year's.
Ain't walking through that door.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll hit our final timeout on the show. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
And them being able to stabilize the most important position in all of team sports. And I don't think this signing helps them do that.
See, he's basically saying until you find somebody, you just It's a problem. I think Daniel Jones can repeat what he did last year. Chris, are you saying it's possible that someone has not pooped their pants in their life at the age of 42? I'm calling those people liars. K-Rock, Cody Mack, do you think that's a lie? Are you watching? This is more important than quarterbacking. Alphabet guy pooped him last week. As an adult, I'm guessing as a kid, I'll take after 10. 10's late to be pooping your pants, but
Oh, so we don't have an artist of the day to pick.
Ryan Mullen is saying he's never pooped it. You're a liar, Ryan. You are lying. How old are you, Ryan? I've seen you, Ryan. You've pooped your pants. Gavendo did last year. Never in someone else's. A sneeze. You never just had like a stomach bug? Or?
So we don't have to pick ours of the day here. Well, why don't we bring up this 1:30?
What?
For here,
or the let's talk about the TBT.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fuel.
I love you guys today. Look at everybody just being men and admitting their incontinence and their inability to keep pee from trickling. The worst is when you don't shake enough as you get older. That's the worst. Especially if you have Dockers on.
Dockers on.
Yeah. Because then your pee spot shows up on your pants.
Oh.
Steve lost interest in that conversation quickly. It's just part of being old. You get over 40, you got to shake longer. You got to be careful with your farts and sneezes. Dreams, Steve, dreams. I had dreams as a kid of being happy. It didn't happen.
You said the other day you're living your dream.
Shut up, Steve. We don't need facts. Trying to lean into what people think about me. My dreams were all shattered.
I don't believe that.
And I'm a shell of a human being because of it, Steve.
I don't believe it.
TBT news, Steve. We wanted Syracuse Seton Hall. We're getting Syracuse Seton Hall.
Right, and we talked about that the other day, right? We just didn't know it was going to be in the TBT. So, yeah, significant changes to the TBT this year. We touched on it the other day that instead of 60-plus teams, they're down to 16. They're going to have a bracket of strictly alumni teams, so 8 alumni teams. Boeheim's Army will be one of those, and then 8 that will play out in Vegas, and they have no affiliation. From what I understand of the new format, one of those other teams with no affiliation can't have a Syracuse guy on it. The Syracuse guys have to play on Boeheim's Army. Boeheim's Army can have up to 4 guys that didn't go to Syracuse, but no more than 4.
We only know of one.
We only know, right. We know of Buddy Boeheim. I assume Jimmy's playing as well.
And the only reason he's on the team is because of his father.
His name's on the front of the jersey and the back of the jersey.
He's not good enough to be there any other reason.
So, yeah, Buddy Boeheim's headlining the team. They will play a best-of-3 series against the Seton Hall alumni squad in July. The first game will be down in New Jersey on July 21st. They will play here at the War Memorial on the 23rd, and then should there be a Game 3, that would be at the War Memorial as well on the 24th. And then the winner of that series moves on to play the winner of the Louisville and Kentucky alumni squad. That will be a one game. After the first round series, then it's just one and done the rest of the way. The other alumni squads involved Kansas and Kansas State, Wichita State, and New Mexico. I mentioned Kentucky, Louisville, Syracuse, Seton Hall. That's the alumni bracket.
Favorite Seton Hall players of all time, go.
Terry DeHare is at the top of my list.
Mark Bryant.
Okay.
Andre Barrett. I'm just trying to.
For me, it's Terry DeHare and nobody else.
PJ Carlissimo is coaching.
Isaiah Whitehead, by the way. Is
Ramon Ramos.
Isaiah Whitehead is the headliner
Samuel
for Seton Hall.
Dallenberg.
Okay, I'm trying to talk here.
I'm trying to put together a squad, bro. Did you know Craig Biggio went to Seton Hall?
Dan Hurley?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at their Hall of Fame.
Dan Hurley's not in the Hall of Fame?
I'm at the H's now.
I'm not saying he was
Shaheen Holloway is.
Not saying he was a Hall of Fame player.
Nope, he isn't.
No? Okay.
No, not in. That crushes you.
It doesn't crush me.
Arturus Carnivorous. You remember him?
Yeah.
Carnivorous. How the hell you said his name. And this will be our final thought on Seton Hall. Worst call in NCAA basketball history, right? That has to be, I don't know who the player was, but the phantom foul call on Rumeal Robinson in the Seton Hall Michigan championship game, right? That's up there with one of the worst calls ever.
It has got to be one of the worst calls ever. Yes. No doubt about that.
I was shocked you even knew what I was talking about when I said that.
No, that was right when we were growing up. I just looked it up. Gerald Green was the gentleman who had the foul called on him.
Let's see if AI has the worst calls in NCAA basketball history.
That was 89. I was 13 years old. Yeah, I remember that. Certainly.
Michigan, Seton Hall, Michigan. There's one, Georgetown, NC State in 1989, they say. Maybe someday we'll do the worst calls we can remember that came against Syracuse. The charge call at the Duke games up there that made Matt Park do this, right? Whoa! The non-call this past year is up there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
With Cayenne.
I just called up an article from ESPN about close calls and disputed fouls, controversy at the NCAA tournament. They list a bunch of games. And one of the games they listed was Syracuse, Indiana. And I'm like, why are they listing Syracuse, Indiana from 87? They're saying that it was disputed.
Timeout call?
Yeah, that's a timeout call. Yeah. But when you watched it though,
there were certain people making it was
half-hearted,
timeout signal. But yeah, you don't know that they saw it. But I can see that
they were stunned in the moment. Anyway, yeah, well, that was one of. For me anyway, that's the one that rises to the top of the list.
Alphabet guy wants to know who Kadari Richmond could play for.
So I think as long as you went to
Either?
A school you can play. Yeah, you can play for. I think you can pick.
What about who was the center? Damn. Why can't I think of his name?
Torian Thompson.
You
can play for either.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So are we doing starting five tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay.
It won unanimously.
All right. We got to go, everybody. For Paulie, I'm Steve. We'll talk to you again noon tomorrow.